Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of West Ham Fan TV's Post-Match Pint, the only West Ham United post-match football show on the internet. And as you can see, we're not in a roundhouse today. We are on the digital streams on the internet because it seems like the pub we go in is shut for the New Year, which is strange. But there we go. But we just come back from the London Stadium where it was West Ham 2, Brighton 2. Mixed bag, this one, boys. And I've watched it back, and it just seems like same old, to be honest with you. And it's not getting any better.
No, it's frustrating because we've been given two opportunities by Forest to close the gap and we're not taking them. They've obviously lost their last two, and we lost to Fulham at home, and then we yesterday twice in the lead. You know, we had a bit of luck with Welbeck missing that penalty, and we just can't seem to see out games. And like, it's okay, we're in a better position than we was yesterday because the gap's now 4 points, but it's not good enough. Like, these next two games, Wolves and Forest, they're getting like they're massive. Every game's massive now, but these two games, I mean, we need 6 points. If we don't get 6 points out of these next two games, then unfortunately, I think that's it for us.
Well, we did say previous to the Fulham and the Brighton game that we needed probably 10 from the next 5. Obviously, it's just about possible, but it's going to be really tough. I mean, you don't want to be going into these games against Forest and Wolves, even like crunch game, because I don't think we've got the mentality.
No. It's this is the thing as well. You know, when I looked at these games and when we was getting the draws against Man United, my whole thing is even though these are winnable games, they're not givens. And Wolves, after the way they've been performing, again, similar to us, just not been able to get the win over the line, but they've been performing, I'd say, better. Like, it's going to be a very, very difficult game. They battered Man United and were unlucky not to win the game, and it's a tough place for us to go. So you go into that and don't come out with a win, that's devastating. I feel so gutted after yesterday, mate. I can imagine.
We was in a similar situation a few seasons ago under David Moyes, and I remember going to Wolves and we lost 1-0. And do you remember that, Nick? You remember that game? We lost 1-0. We were shocking that day, and Wolves weren't on a good run of form. And it's sort of similar to, I feel like, what we're going into now. And I can, I could see Wolves maybe beating us, and that's the way our season's been going. It's been, I know we spoke about it so many times, but it's been a shit year for West Ham. You know, how many wins have we seen this year? 3 at home in the Premier League, is it?
Probably,
it's not good enough. And now Nuno's he's only won 3 in 14 games now. You know, when Potter had that run of form, Lopetegui had that run of form, everyone was saying get rid of him. So look, I know Nuno hasn't had a transfer window. It's going to be interesting to see what he does. He's obviously come out and said to Sullivan, you know, you need to back me. I need players. I think when you're chasing a win yesterday and you look at your bench, and no disrespect, but you're bringing on 2 youngsters, Kante and Myers and Souček, you know, that shows how thin the squad is at the moment. So, yeah.
But how I was looking at this yesterday, and I'm trying to think back, because I was looking back at some old. It was only from a couple of years ago when and Rice must have been playing. But we had. Listen, we've never had a massive squad, but how has this squad dwindled down to this? How the fuck has this happened? Because
we've let players go we let players go that would have been still good to have around the squad and be on the bench. You know, you can't tell me now that Aaron Creswell wouldn't have been still able to do a job this season. Bal, you know, we obviously got Fabianski back, but he's not been involved in match days. Alvarez, letting him go. You know, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how we have let this squad get so thin. And this is no disrespect to the youth, because, you know, I feel like they haven't let us down. I mean, Ollie Scholes yesterday, I said it the other day, after his mistake, the best thing he can do is go out and have a good game. And for me, he was man of the match. I don't know how Bowen got man of the match. For me, I thought it was Ollie Scholes. I thought he done really well.
I agree with that.
Bowen played really well. Don't get me wrong. Bowen was sort of back to his best yesterday in doing what he does. But I don't think he was man of the match. I thought Ollie Scholes, he done really well and he redeemed himself. And then that's the best thing you can do as a football player. You know, you forget your last game.
He had that locked down for the most part, that side. So, yeah, listen, I was really happy. He come close to scoring. I was
I was gonna say,
desperately hoping that would go in.
if he went with the outside of his foot instead of the inside of his foot, that would have gone in.
But we got obviously we got the goal within sort of 10 minutes. Great finish from Bowen. Paquetá got the assist, and do you know what? Right, I'm going to talk a little bit about Paquetá later because I've seen a comment on my thing. He scored and got an assist, and I was still sort of slagging him off on the morning after. Which when you think about it, but there's just certain traits of Paquetá that I don't like. But we'll talk about. But he got the assist. I think that comes from the run of Wilson. To be quite honest with you, if you look at the run of Wilson and the defenders occupied, but they've both gone through. Slots it away, and you think to yourself, "Here we go." You know what I mean? We need this sort of uplift, and then within about 10 minutes, it's fucking chaos again.
Yeah, it was. It's probably the most chaotic first half I've seen for a long time. Yeah, I mean, look, with the Bowen, one thing I liked about Bowen yesterday is that he was gambling. He was gambling with his runs, which he hasn't done for a long time. A couple of them paid off. As you said, great finish, great ball from Paquetá. Paquetá had a decent game yesterday, I thought. I agree with you. He wasn't great, but he was a lot better than what he has been. I thought he showed a little bit of passion yesterday, which he's been missing. But yeah, I mean, chaotic first half with the penalties, and Paquetá, that just sums him up. He has a great ball, and then 2 minutes later, or 10 minutes later, he's rugby tackling fucking Lewis Dunk in the box and giving away a penalty, which is stupid.
He came this close to costing us the game, and it wouldn't have just been him because the first penalty from that was given away by Max Kilman just summed him up completely, miles off it, nowhere near, just brain dead, absolutely brain dead.
The organisation of that defensive line is, I don't know where it's coming from, to be quite honest with you. They don't seem to talk to each other. They're always miles off of it. The midfield are the same, but I'm going to make some excuses for it. But they're always miles off of it. And that was a point where people are always finding themselves free in our box, and our defenders don't seem to be anywhere. There's no organisation. There's no, I don't know. There's no sort of robustness about it. It's just too easy, right? And then when you see the way Kilman comes in, he's miles away from it. I mean, he didn't even get anywhere near the ball.
No,
that's just a pure gamble because he's well out of position. And Todibo was the fucking same, to be quite honest with you. I know Welbeck skied it, but if you see Todibo was spinning around, he didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, they seemed nervous, didn't they? The defense yesterday.
As you said, but they need, someone needs to stand up right and
we said it before. There's no leaders there, is there? There's no. I know we've been linked with Nathan Ake at Man City, and I think he's turned us down which you can't blame him. To be fair, why would he want to leave a team that's going for the title to come and play in a relegation battle? If he's going to leave for anyone, it'd be a team that's pushing for Europe. But he would have been someone that could come in and lead the line at the back. I've been saying it for weeks. That's what we're missing. We're not only in the defence, we're missing it all over the pitch. We're missing leaders everywhere. I know you mentioned him earlier, but Callum Wilson, what a difference he makes when he plays. And did it just go to show when you play a striker how different things can be?
I think it brings the best out of people like Paquetá because he knows that Wilson's going to make them runs. I think that's why he played that ball through. I know Bowen got on the end of it, but I think it was intended for Wilson. But he knows he's going to make that run. But to be honest with you, and somebody said this earlier, is the only thing that we've got. If Bowen goes down with his goals and Wilson goes out at all for any period of time, I don't know where the goals are coming from. I can't see it. I cannot see another source of goals in that team.
Yeah, but this is the thing, because with Wilson, even when he's not scoring, he's a constant threat up top. Yeah. He's a constant source of concern and worry for opposition defenses, which actually takes a little bit of pressure off our defense because, they've constantly got to worry about, what's going to come up the other end. So having Wilson makes all the difference, and it just, again, question marks why he's not been starting and just his management, especially in against Fulham, where you question that one. And even yesterday, bringing him off at about 60 odd minutes, and then he brings on Somerville, which I've been wanting to see them together because the run Somerville makes, Wilson will make up for his lack of finishing. It's just frustrating because we're chasing a goal, and you bring on our biggest goal threat. That's again.
If you look at the game, though, the way it goes, the amount of times that I noticed yesterday that there's just people watching. Everything's individual. There's no sort of teamwork going on. The midfield are struggling in terms of their positioning. I think their energy levels are great. Their enthusiasm is great. I personally thought Magassa was nowhere near anything yesterday. But when you look at them three midfielders that we've got, they're all in their early 20s. You know, they need a sort of an organizer, a leader to sort of like, you know, point them where to go. And when you look around and look at the team, who's doing that? Nobody.
I think out of the three yesterday, I think Fernandez had a really good game. You know, the way he breaks up play, I like he's had to adapt his game since he's come to West Ham, and do that role. But yeah, I agree. I thought Magassa was a little bit off the pace yesterday. But look, you're asking these kids to play so many games in such a short space of time because we haven't got the bodies to replace them and rest them. And that's the worrying thing. If we do start picking up injuries, you know, we're knackered really because you know you lose Wilson. Who we got? As you said, you can put Bowen up there, but then who takes Bowen's place?
Yeah,
you know, it's Bowen. Without Bowen this season, I don't know where we'd be because I know he hasn't been great, but he's got, you know, he's a top goal scorer. You know, he's creating chances. You know, he has been off his best in the last few games, but you always got to stick with Bowen because you know he can create stuff. This is why January's so important, mate. You know?
It was nice to see a bit of fire in the game. Obviously, you know, Welbeck takes his second penalty. The players ain't happy. Some of the players, Fernandez and that, seeing it as him trying to mug off Areola, which it comes back to bite Welbeck. What an idiot. He should have just stuck his laces through it.
You know what? I wanted to ask you what your feelings about that was, because obviously, like, I remember the Henry and Pires thing years ago, and people get the ump about it. Is it something to get the ump about? Do you think they should be getting the ump about it?
I think, you know what, right? I don't think Fernandez meant it as that. I think when you watch it back, he was running towards Areola, and then I think he's knocked into Welbeck, and because he's screaming, obviously Welbeck's took it the wrong way. But look, it's up to Welbeck. I'm glad he took it like that because he missed. If he puts his laces through it, he scores. So, you know, it's up to Welbeck if he wants to do that. Yeah, some people see it as a bit of disrespect, but it's football at the end of the day. I've seen a lot worse over the years. As you said, Henry Perez, you know, we've seen Di Canio do it for us.
Yeah.
You know, you do it. You know, players have got confidence, but lucky enough for us, it's hit the bar, it's come back, and
it's cost his team 3 points. Basically, because I think if that goes in, I don't think we come back. I think that knocks the arsehole out of us and the crowd, to be honest with you. So fortunate for us. Thanks, Danny Welbeck. But like I said, a point, I've always said, you know, for the Fulham game, I said a point wouldn't have been enough. We got 0. A point was not enough here. Like, we need to start winning games of football.
The thing is, when you see that penalty, right, the penalty decision, and I was sitting in the ground, and obviously football has moments, right? And you look at it and, you know, things like that can be the turning point. And I looked at the way, obviously we couldn't see it in the ground and we didn't know what the fuck had gone on. The Brighton fans didn't even know there was a penalty given. So it gives the penalty, Welbeck, and I was sort of thinking to myself, right, especially when we got the second goal, right, that is the turning point now. That is the bit of luck that we need, because we've had absolutely no luck over the last probably about 3-4 months, right? And I think that's and then we get in the lead, and then I've got to say this as well, and I'm gonna criticise the manager. We start retreating again. We done exactly in this game as we did when we was away. We get the lead, we start retreating and trying to defend the lead. And I've got to say, like, how many times you have to do this? Bournemouth, we done it. Brighton, we done it again. Villa, we done it. I don't understand it. It's because we're so used to losing. That's why. Because we panic. When we're winning, we don't know how to see out games. We don't know how to control games. We don't know how to soak up the pressure. You know, do you think it's a manager thing, though, Rod? Do you think it's a players just? I think it's a mixture of both. I think Nuno panics and then wants to make the subs to see out the game and bring on more defenders. You know, all right, one of them was forced with Todibo going off. Hopefully, he's not out for a long time. But like when we went 2-1 up, or even when we went 1-0 up, I thought he'll probably sub off Wilson now and bring on Mavropanos. You know, and we're 10 minutes into the game. I just think it's a mixture. I just don't. It goes back to leadership on the pitch as well. Like
There's no one that can, like, going back. I know we can't keep talking about him, but going back to a few seasons ago, we get ourselves in them positions when we was like down the bottom. When we found ourselves going in the league, Declan Rice was a player that would grab the game by the scruff of the neck. He would put in the tackles. He would, rally around. But we ain't got that at the moment. And I'm not. There's no disrespect to what we've got in midfield with Potts and Magassa, because I think they're doing well, and Fernandez as well. I think they're doing well with what they're being chucked into. I mean, ideally, we'd love Potts and Magassa and Fernandez to be brought into this team while we're up the top of the table in the top half and winning week in, week out. But it's not. And you're asking these kids to do a lot of work. It's a lot of pressure. You see the effect it had on Ollie Scholes the other day. It shows that they care. And that's one thing that I would take out of that Fulham game, is at least I know there are some players in that dressing room that do actually give a shit.
Yeah.
That do care about this football club.
But there is, I think, equally, right, there's a lot in there that when these situations arise and things are not going too well, it starts to show who really doesn't give a shit and who can't get the fucking season over quick enough, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah. Probably already onto their agents looking for a move in the summer, if not January.
Yeah, and that's why we're in the state we're in, and it's big. It's big now for West Ham. This month, January, is probably the biggest month in one of the biggest months in our history. Like with the transfer window and the fixtures we've got coming up, it's huge. It's looking like Adama Traore will happen. From what I'm hearing, looks like he'll be our first signing. Whether that's the difference maker, we'll see. Nuno's been desperate to sign him. At Forest, he wanted him, which is part of the reason he ended up leaving and falling out with him at Forest, because he couldn't get his player. Now he seems to be getting him here. I don't know what the price it is we're paying for him and what the wages are, but it's going to have an impact instantly.
Yeah, I don't really be much, to be honest with you.
No, I just think it's another body. It's a bit of experience there, what we need. And look, I don't know how it's going to work out. Traore's a decent player. He's had some good games against us in the past. But we, as you said, he's got to hit the ground running straight away, because this ain't pre-season. This is Premier League survival. And I know we've been linked with Larson as well from Wolves. It's still. I mean, we've been linked with a few other players as well, but it's just going to be that all January, But we just need bodies in as soon as possible. Don't leave it to the end of the window. If you're going to leave it to the end of the window, at least have 2 or 3 in before, and then if you want to bring in another couple, that's fine. But it's going to be interesting. As you said, it's a huge month for the history of this football club, because relegation will kill this football club without a doubt.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think the issue we have in terms of getting players in quick, it seems we might be okay with Traore, but for the most part, is finding players that want to come, which is why it's really important we get ourselves out of this bottom 3 as quick as possible. If we win our next 2 games, we're out of the bottom 3, which gives look, we're still in a relegation scrap, but it's just a little bit better of a visual than being in the bottom 3, and that's why it might take a while to find a player to come.
Sometimes being in these situations, you find the best players for your club, because Aki saying he doesn't want to come, right? That sort of, I'm not saying it's blessing in disguise, because I think Aki goes into the team and he becomes, but like, you need players to fight for you. This is what we need at the moment. We need fighters. We need leaders. We need people that want to, have got a little bit of bollocks about them. So if you've got players saying, I don't really fancy that, like, even if he turned around and said, no, actually, I will come there, I don't want him here, because he obviously doesn't fancy the fight. He doesn't want to, he doesn't fancy that. So we need to find
how many top players would fancy the fight? How many top players would?
Course, and that's the problem.
There's a good chance you get a relegation on your CV. You know what I mean?
That is the issue. Like, I mean? Like, I remember Wayne Bridge coming here a few years ago when we went down. Good player, England international, fell out of favour at his club, and he came here, didn't really do much. You know what I mean? Like Calvin Phillips was the same, lost a bit of hunger. You know what I mean? Good player. Even the kid that we had from Brighton last year, the Irish kid. They don't fancy it when it's shit. But that's what I'm saying. When you get players in that want to come in and want to play and want to prove themselves, that's when sometimes you find your heroes and you find the people that you want to support, because there is too many people in this football. I've heard a rumour, and I'm not going to sort of like brandish him with this because I don't know whether this is true, that Max Kilman has asked for a transfer request. And I was thinking to myself, like, how the fuck can you ask for a transfer? You are the reason we are here.
I don't believe that.
Yeah,
I know
but
I know someone said this morning that he may be part of a deal to go back to Wolves if it involves Larson, but I don't think that's him handing in a transfer request.
No.
I think that's just people making up stories and rumours.
Yeah, it's a very. I think the person who posts, like I said, I ain't seen concrete sources with it. I think people have put that out there. So yeah, we'll take that with a massive pinch of salt because I did see that rumor. But yeah, if we can get him as part of a transfer exchange with Larson, then that's a great deal. Whether they want him back, Wolves, seeing how awful he's been for us, that's another question entirely.
It's whether he sees himself going to the Championship. Because that's
because it's guaranteed. Like he knows it's guaranteed, so he's going to.
Was he comfortable there? Does he like it there? Is he? I don't know his situation.
Yeah,
you know, but
it's a big thing. The thing is, it seems to be to me that Nuno wants Premier League players, right? And which I agree with that sentiment, but then it's just harder to find players that because most players for us that we want to sign will be a step down unless you're signing people from Burnley or Wolves. Everyone else is a step down. Whereas if you look at the Championship, and I think you'd struggle to find players from Coventry and that the players that are looking to push promotion because they're like, we're looking to go up. You're coming on the way down. You'd have to go like mid-table Championship, really. It's a tough one. It's a real tough.
Some of it.
The problem is we're dealing with the Premier League teams now is that they're not going to want to sell their players until the end of January. So that's the only issue you've got as well, especially when you're trying to buy from teams around you. You know, Wolves might hold out until the end of January. They know they're down, but they might think to themselves, right, fuck it, we're not going to help one of these other teams that we want to drag down with us. So yeah, it's going to be a difficult, long month. I'd love to see. Like, I'd love to wake up tomorrow, 1st of January, and see 4 players at the door, but it's not going to happen, unfortunately. And like this time next week, you know, if results go our way, you know, we could be outside the relegation zone if we win our next 2 games, and then it is more attractive. But whoever comes in, there's still a fight. We're not out of it. You know, it only takes you to go on a run of not winning for 2 or 3 games, and you're back in there. So we just got to.
We've just got to find some consistency, Ryan. We've got to find something. Because we
just need to see our games. Like we've been in so many positions this year. I mean, if we'd have held out to Bournemouth, Brighton, Villa, you know, we wouldn't even be sitting in there talking about this. We'd be what, nearly mid-table. So it's just about seeing our games. We just haven't got the characters to do that at the moment. I mean, we even spoke about Areola yesterday. I mean, that, you know, it's another mistake from him for their second goal. I mean, he can sit there and scream and shout. No one touched him. It was a mistake. He dropped the ball again,
and he was too weak.
Yeah, I think
it wasn't even. And if you look back at the game, I don't know whether you noticed, but it wasn't just that corner. He struggled with all of them.
Yeah, I think the issue there, from what I see at the time, was, you know, there was calls for obstruction from the Brighton player as he's sort of quite close, but Kilman's also bundling in, and so because Kilman's there, they don't give the foul because this is what they're saying on the telly, is because Kilman is also obstructing him. So there's a chance that goal gets ruled out had Kilman not come bundling in, you know, which is then you look at it.
But
cost us twice. But I think the thing is, what I see is a lot of our fans, when it comes to players, are so reactionary because I see people saying Areola's not good enough, get rid. And it's like you make a mistake and everything good you've done is erased. The same with Scholes last week.
Yeah.
He makes a mistake. Yeah. Everything good he's done in that game, all of a sudden, he's not good enough. All of a sudden, Areola hasn't been.
You know, I do understand it because it's frustration. And obviously, like, you know, when, you know, even though they've played well, most of the time we haven't won games. Like, if you can say Areola's won us 10 points, you'd forgive it. But because of the position we're in, it's obviously like, you know, every game is important, and like we need to win these games. And when you see like mistakes like that,
he's a goalkeeper, so he's not much in control of the other end of the pitch when we're not scoring goals. You know,
the thing is with Areola, he's faced the most shots in the Premier League this season, so he is gonna, you know, he's gonna make mistakes. You know, he is our best goalkeeper, so we can't drop him. I mean, there's no one there to replace him. The other goalkeeper we brought in for what 30 odd million he's another waste of money. not good enough for this football club.
Record goalkeeper signing.
But yeah, Areola is going to make mistakes. It just seems like when he makes mistakes, it costs us. Which usually when a goalkeeper does make mistakes, it costs him. But look, we've got to stick with him because he's our best. He's our number one. They've tried to replace him a couple of times, and he always seems to get back in goal. So
would it be tempting to bring Fab back in, right?
I don't know. Look, Fabianski was obviously brought back just to have a bit of experience in the dressing room, I think, and maybe give confidence to the goalkeepers. But I can't see him coming back in. I'll be very surprised.
You can't be flipped like that.
Yeah,
you just drop in a player off of. It'd be like if we dropped Ollie Scholes after a mistake last week. That would have been horrendous. I mean, we're struggling for people we could drop. Obviously, Myers, but that would be horrendous. Whereas you've got someone like Kilman who makes mistakes consistently, who's still in the team. And Tadibo going off injured is a nightmare because whether you like him or not, he's probably been our best defender for a while, right? And it just sort of guarantees, because he sees nothing in Igor for Nuno, so it guarantees Kilman will be starting for as long as he's here and as long as Tadibo's out, which is not good.
I wonder if Traore coming in, we can see him revert to a back three, because Traore plays right wing back, then he can play it very well.
Right, well, that don't exactly fill me with excitement.
Who do you drop out of the forward line?
No, Somerville goes for me. Pekatar goes for me. Any of them, to be honest.
But Somerville is our only. Well, Traore would be pace, but I think Somerville's a lot quicker. Neither of them can have end product, so you're dropping Somerville for Traore. Why? What are you getting from Traore that Somerville can't offer? What's the point of that? Strength.
Yeah.
Somerville wins fouls. He gets fouled all the time.
Yeah. I know. It'd be interesting to see. I think it'd be interesting to see if you started both of them. I mean, obviously Traore is not a West Ham player yet, but let's say he is. Him on the right, Somerville on the left. Then you've got the option of maybe putting Bowen up top when Wilson's not on the pitch. But for me, you've got to start Wilson. Someone said the other day, you can't start him every game. He's an injury problem. But he hasn't been starting any games, so you've got to start him. It shows the difference when he's on the pitch. I know we spoke about it earlier, but it does. It makes a huge difference.
Someone said yesterday that on one of our TikToks, I think it was, that you can't. What do you want? You can't play him for 90 minutes because you. And I think to myself, when have we ever played him for 90 minutes? He's barely played.
You don't need to play for 90 minutes. If you get the game done and wrapped up, after 60, 65 minutes. I mean, look, he took him off yesterday at that time where I think he could have played another 15 minutes at least with Somerville just to see. But Nuno's probably got it in his mind thinking, against Wolves, Callum Wilson, they leak goals. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. But look, we can't rely on Callum Wilson being our only striker at this football club. We need to get someone else in. So
no, of course. But as it is, just play him. Look, and if he gets injured, we can't afford to lose any game. So for now, let's try and do everything we can to win the games in front of us, and then we'll worry about what if this happens and he gets injured.
I agree.
Yeah, later, just win what's in front of us.
I think there's too much of this. Save this person for this game and save that person for that game, and then we get to them games, we don't fucking win them anyway. So
yeah,
I don't know.
That's the big one. I see on just a little side thing. I see Sean posted about just West Ham making record losses. With all the bad business that we've done, the huge transfer fees we've paid, and the underselling of players. Basically, they've sort of run us into a situation where we are recording record losses.
Yeah, funny that, isn't it? When the transfer window's coming up and David Sullivan's don't want to spend any fucking money, that all of a sudden that Whetstone's telling you how much money we've lost.
But it's funny though, isn't it?
It's fucking business, and at the end of the day, he's the one that wants to sit there running it. He's got to find some fucking money to buy some players at work.
Well, this is, it's a strange strategy of going, hey, everyone, I can't sign players because I'm a massive incompetent. and I've lost us loads of money.
No,
with how
I don't
poorly
think
I've
that.
won.
I don't think he thinks like that. I think he thinks like that because now we're going to turn around and go, "Oh, that's what Tim Stuyvesant done," and all that. I think that's his thinking.
But this is what he's exactly said. West Ham will soon publish financial accounts for last season to the end of May 2025, showing losses of over 100 million. So these are published accounts. The cost of poor recruitment decision, high amortization, and high wages, and a merry-go-round of managers is catching up on the Hammers after publishing a £57 million paper profit 2 seasons ago, thanks to sale of Declan Rice. This season is on target for similar losses, making relegation a potentially financially devastating for the Hammers. Yeah, that hasn't helped us. The manager fucking sacking managers and signing new managers.
It isn't like they've gone out and paid money to get the new ones, though, Dan. They've always, no,
but you got to pay their wages. You got to sit there and.
With everything that we've gone through, with everything like the size of the stadium and all that sort of stuff, I don't see how we're any worse off than say someone. How have Watford survived? They go through managers like fucking I eat chocolate bars over Christmas.
They've got to surely put clauses on. So when you go through that many managers, but this is it. It's how bad the club has been run, because when you're signing players like Fulkrug for like 25 million and then loaning him out, and Alvarez was about 25 million, wasn't it? We're loaning him out. Like we're signing these players.
They made a profit on Kudus and Rice. So
yeah, of course, but at the same time, like I said, we're bringing it. We've got players like say Ward-Prowse, so we're paying 30 million for, who's sitting on our bench earning over 100 grand a week. Like it has been run absolutely shambolically with how we've done these signings and our business over the past few years, and that would not surprise me.
It's an embarrassment. The money we've spent and what we've got to show for it is fucking embarrassing. And the fact that they keep on loaning these people out and not trying to get at least some fucking money back from it. I mean, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. But
this is it. So we'll see. Like the accounts are going to be published apparently. So we'll see if it's true or not, or unless you believe that they're forging accounts or the accounts are wrong. I just think it's just evidence, more further evidence of that we are the worst run club in the league by some distance. So survival is huge.
I think the scary thing about that is, Dan, is that they sit there patting themselves on the back like they've done something special, and it's quite evidently, fucking shocking the way that the business has been run. But there we go. Well, all we've got to hope for is that we have a better second half of the season than the first half of the season. And I've got to say this: the evidence it isn't there. But
no, it's all hope.
It's like now it feels like it's not pre-season, but now obviously the transfer window's open. We're exactly halfway through the season. We're only 4 points behind, so there's a lot of points to play for. There's a lot of games to play, so it can turn around. At the moment, I haven't got confidence, but if we can get the right players in, pick up a few results, then it's all about winning games at the end of the day, isn't it? That's the simple thing about football. You win games, you stay up.
Go on. See this. I don't know if you was in the ground early, Nick, but this is ridiculous. The Athletic have said about before the game, a video was played on the big screens. Remember the West Ham fans and people associated with the club who died in 2025. But the somber mood was spoiled rather when they played at ear-splitting volume the late 90s techno hit Sandstorm by Darude over the PA. This feels like a club that can't get anything right at the moment. Just sums it up, doesn't it? Just sums it up. We are
there we go.
Apples all over. So listen, that's 2025 done and dusted. Thank God. What an awful year it has been for West Ham. Let's hope 2026.
But don't let West Ham spoil your New Year's Eve. Go out there and enjoy yourself tonight, and spend it with your family. Spend the rest of the Christmas holiday with your family, and don't worry too much about what's happening over at West Ham. That's what I would say. Yeah,
that's all we could do.
And thank you to OK Dirties, Dan. You two got them on.
Yep, we've got them on. There you go. It's got this one, the old back windows, the old Bacta away shirt.
You've got me
carrier bag.
Finally.
Oof, that is nice. That is sexy, mate. I obviously got that delivered to me, and that was honestly, that's one of the best ones I've ever seen.
Yeah, I fell in love with this kit when I was in Mexico earlier in the year, and I wanted to buy one, but they were ridiculous money. They were like about $140, something like that. So, yeah, and I'm going to be honest with you now. That is one of the best replica kits that I've ever seen. Like the detail on it as well is I can't wait to wear that. I'll be walking around carrying them in my Mexico shirt.
Do you know what I can't wait to show when the World Cup comes? Right, I'm looking at it right now. I've got the biggest England official shirt in the world.
Yeah.
You've all seen it, and I can't wait to. I'm going to hang it on the wall to show how big it is. It is fucking huge. I've never seen anything like it.
Well, yeah, no, it's. I said you can get all this at OK Jerseys. There's a code below, Nicky10 for 10%. I've upgraded you from 8%. You can scan this QR code. There's a link in the description, or just type in www.okjersey.com. So go check that out and see what I said. West Ham, internationals, any of the top clubs in the world, you know, your Premier Leagues and I think some championships and stuff like that. So just type in the search bar whatever team you want, and they'll all come up.
Yeah, thanks, boys. Anyway, I'm going to enjoy me New Year's Eve now, I guess.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I would have went and enjoyed it at my local Roundhouse, but they're having a refurb, so I might just have a quiet one. I don't like travelling far for New Year's, so I might just stay in.
No worries. But thank you very much for joining us on this edition of West Ham Fan TV's Post-Match Pint, and thank you for joining us all through 2025. It's been a fantastic year, and we hope 2026 will be a better year. And hopefully we stay up and we can continue making content. But there we go. Thank you, boys. Thank you so much. Thank the audience for watching. And one thing left to say. Come on, you
Irons. Happy New Year.